Thank you for joining Mission Mobility's short webinar on the M Converge, which enables BGAN users to boost satellite internet connection speed anywhere. We would like to stress that this presentation is a high-level overview, not a technical brief. If you wish to learn more about M Converge after understanding the features and benefits from this presentation, please contact us to set up a meeting. For those of you calling in, you're on automatic mute, as apparently I just was. If you have questions, we ask that you submit them using the control panel on the right side of your screen. Today's speakers are Catherine Kaczynski and Tom Morgan. Catherine is Mission Mobility's Director of Sales. She is formerly the Airtime Accounts Manager at CVG Avtech, where she was responsible for global Inmartsat and Iridium bandwidth service sales, program management, and product management. Tom joined Mission Mobility with extensive experience in hardware, software, and networking protocol development. While he is adept technically, he is well known for working closely with customers to seek out novel solutions based on nuanced requirements. His reputation developed while holding key positions over the last 20 years within U.S. DoD projects, as well as in industry in support of the military and first responder communities. Without any further ado, I'll turn it over to Catherine and Tom.
Thanks, Ann. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us today. As Ann mentioned, this is a brief overview, so let's jump right in. Tom, could you start off by telling us a little bit about what Converge is?
Absolutely. Converge is a consolidated product and service offering. It has hardware and software that is comprised of the use of the Inmarsat I-4 constellation of satellites. It allows the Inmarsat Gov, through the Inmarsat Gov APN, to merge, if you will, two satellite streams into a single IP stream so that you can effectively double your bandwidth. It's an exciting technology, and it's brand new on the market here. We're happy to partner with Inmarsat Gov on this.
An interesting offering. So, Tom, could you talk a little bit about who would be interested in Converge?
Sure. Those users who typically would carry two satellite terminals, two BGAN terminals out in the field, whether they're used simultaneously or one is a primary and then one of them is just sitting there turned off as a potential backup for communications. They would now effectively be able to use them simultaneously, and with the proper streaming subscriptions, combine those into a single stream and allow for greater throughput over the BGAN network.
This is really for a specific group of DoD and first responder users that are looking for better throughput than what they're currently getting with just one BGAN.
Absolutely. Now, that doesn't mean others won't be interested in it. Certainly, if they want higher bandwidth and have a couple of SIM cards on the Inmarsat Gov APN, they would be able to use them simultaneously, but first responders and DoD and others that require consistent higher bandwidth for their services, whether voice over IP, VTC, and so forth. Collaboration would certainly be the market for this.
That's great. So, Tom, could you talk a little bit about what Converge does?
Sure. The Converge actually will take two different satellite terminals currently with streaming service. You must have the streaming service, and virtually bond those together so that they can be used as a single pipe. It load balances across them, and once the packets reach the other end, they're resequenced and then put out over the Inmartsat Gov MPLS network, and then ultimately to the internet or the respective destination. So it's kind of exciting to be able to take that, and instead of using them as two single WAN connections, now you can have one virtual WAN connection and have more capability over that single connection.
Great. So is there anything out there on the market right now that does what Converge does?
No, there's not. Not really anything else out there right now. Converge is unique in several of the ways that it actually handles the traffic. It manages it very well. The way that it does its load balancing and its sequencing of packets and so forth, and then reorganization, if you will, of those packets at the other end is unique to the market. This is one of the things that makes this a pretty exciting technology for those who can actually leverage it in their mission.
Absolutely. So what do my customers need for Converge to work in the field?
Well, in the field, you would have a single point that would plug into the Converge appliance. You'd have to buy the appliance with the software on it. You have your single point, whether it's a router or a laptop or whatever that device is, that establishes the tunnel. And you'd have to have the proper subscriptions. This only works with streaming services, so it's important to note that, because the background or best effort services, which a lot of people have, they would have to upgrade that to the streaming. And that way the predictability, if you will, of the packet delivery and so forth is a lot higher, and we can more easily guarantee the delivery of those packets. So you would also need not only the streaming service, but it has to be through Inmartsat Gov. So they have to provision the SIMs so that it would use the SGN APN, which is the data side of the network. Therefore, it terminates where the servers can intercept that and reorganize the packets in the proper order and send them off to their ultimate destination. So that's a very good question. So
just so I understand this, compared to a typical DoD or first responder setup with a mobile kit, if they're typically bringing a BGAN or one BGAN and a spare, and they both have Inmartsat government SIM cards, all they would need that would increase their footprint in the field is the Converge appliance, which is kind of what size or form factor is that actual appliance?
Okay, well, the appliance is approximately 1 1/4 inches thick, maybe 5 inches wide by somewhere like 8 to 10 inches long, and that supports the current capability of 2 satellite terminals and future roadmap capabilities of the software, which are planning on supporting up to 4 satellite terminals. So the hardware would remain the same, and the software would simply be upgraded at that point. Now, one of the important things to mention here is that the users wouldn't just take their 2 existing SIMs and use those, because they would be paying 100% of the cost on each SIM. But once they're registered as a Converge user, then they get a discount on that second SIM. So the usage, the cost of ownership or cost per minute decreases by, I believe, at least 25% once you register those as Converge SIMs. So there is a cost savings there as well.
Wow, so not a whole lot of added size or weight, improved capabilities, and a reduced increase in cost. So, what terminals are currently supported by Converge?
Well, this is currently the Explorers 500, 700, the HSD 400 Aero terminals are supported, but this is a living list. periodically there's going to be new terminals added to this list. And so just because we're limited to 3 at the moment doesn't mean we're going to remain that way. So let's review, I guess, in a little bit more detail kind of how this works. So you have your, in the system diagram, we'll start from the left side, which is the user side. And that's where you'd have your voice over IP phones, your VTCs, video streams, laptops, multi-enclave services, if you will, if it's a DoD customer, going into your router. And then from that router, you plug straight into the Converge appliance. And you have the 2 satellite terminals also plugged into that Converge appliance. And it is load balancing across those. And at the other end, at the Earth station, it has, clustered Converge servers that actually will demux, if you will, that traffic and reorder the packets for delivery in the Inmartsat Gov MPLS network. And ultimately, it could be off to the internet or your gateway at the other end there, your ultimate destination, wherever that might be. So we're leveraging the entire architecture that Inmarsat Gov has in place, and which is, it adds a level of flexibility as well as availability and reliability to the system.
Thanks, Tom. That's helpful. Could you also talk to us a little bit about how traffic flows with this appliance?
Sure. Let's, in the first slide here, this is while the Converge software is offline. So if you have your 2 terminals physically plugged in, the Converge software is disabled, everything will route through the terminal. If you have one of your 2 terminals, satellite terminals, that are turned on, it will route through that terminal. In the first example, you see terminal 1 out of 2 is physically powered on and connected. In the second example, the middle example there, terminal 2 is turned on while 1 is offline, so everything naturally routes through that. Now, if they're both online, but Converge, again, is disabled, it will route through terminal 1. Okay, now we move on to the second slide. This shows how Converge works if it's online. So in scenario 1 and 2, it's identical, because although you have 2 terminals plugged into the appliance, you still have only a single terminal that's up and running at any given time. So it runs through that terminal. But the difference is, in scenario 3, where Converge is online and both satellite terminals are up and running, it actually will load balance across both of those, providing the minimum of double bandwidth there.
Great, that's helpful. What BGAN services are currently available with Converge?
Well, any of the streaming services currently available are supported. So you have your 128 kilobit per second streaming service, you have your 256, which is supported, and those are the legacy BGAN streaming services, if you will. Now there's something called Xstream, which is now available, which gives you up to 384 kilobits per second per stream. And if you have those, and both of the terminals are up and running on that level of service, then you certainly get a lot more bandwidth. There's a pretty extensive roadmap that Inmarsat Gov has in their service offerings, which will also be supported. But currently, all the way up to the Xstream is supported.
Great. So, Tom, could you kind of briefly review why Converge makes sense?
Absolutely. First of all, it's pretty small, right? It's a easily portable solution. You can just throw it in a backpack. With your terminals, you can have a small, Pelican case made with that and a couple of satellite terminals, if you will. It's a very compact type solution. The bandwidth is what people are going to be most excited about, I think. And that's the ability to merge, if you will, the multiple satellite streams into a single virtual stream for your throughput and bandwidth. So you're going to be able to increase that substantially. Now, as far as the user case goes, there's going to be voice over IP and VTCs, occurring on the user side, and not to mention other applications that are going to be running. And it's going to enhance those as well. Anything that prefers higher bandwidth on the application side and the human side, we all want more. If we can get more, we want it. So it's going to enable that. You'll be able to do higher quality VTCs, even up to business quality in this service. And there's something coming called the Global Express, which is a high bandwidth satellite offering that's going to be released. I think we'll leave it to Inmartsat Gov to make that announcement when that occurs, but this is going to be pretty exciting. This kind of bridges the gap as well as supports that new infrastructure. So this is pretty exciting in the roadmap moving forward here with the satellite technology connectivity.
Great. That is very exciting. Could you elaborate a little bit more on how Converge can bridge that gap between what folks have now with BGAN in the field and what they'll have in the future with Inmarsat GX?
Absolutely. The Inmarsat, well, currently we know that the Converge will bond or give a virtual bonding experience to 2 satellite streams, and soon to be 4 satellite streams. But that is kind of a baby step toward the ultimate goal of higher bandwidth satellite links. So as Inmarsat deploys faster links, higher capacity satellites, if you will, that's called the Global Express, and then even beyond that, even higher bandwidth. We'll still support those, certainly on the Converge, but this bridges that gap, being able to increase the bandwidth available in the near term until Global Express is deployed, as well as interfacing with it once it's deployed, so enhancing that.
That's very exciting. That certainly brings our users up. Now, what about the support for this product?
Support is handled just like any other mission mobility product. We have mission care support, 24/7. You can call in, email, or whatever it happens to be, and you receive the best quality support possible. And our customers, our current customers, can testify to that. Any new customers, it would be a certain level of insurance for them. They're going to feel better about the quality, I think, that they receive from us. And let's just say everybody's generally pretty happy with that. And it's the same thing that's going to occur on Converge, with the same level of support. And we will be the one button to push for our customers. And if necessary, our relationship with Inmarsat Gov, who writes the software that will be living on the appliance, we will interface with them if necessary. If there's any developmental issues or potential patches that have to be written or what have you, we will interface with them. So it's the same process that people are already happy with and are used to using as far as support goes.
It's sort of a single face to support.
Right.
So this has been a good high-level overview of the benefits of Converge, but if I want to understand more about how it works and how it can be implemented in my specific application, what should I do?
Well, there's a couple of options. Obviously, this slide tells us the toll-free number 888-478-4240 can be called, or an email at info@missionmobility.com. It's very simple. We'd love to answer any questions that you have and welcome the opportunity to work with you and enhance your missions.
That's all the time we have for today. If you have further questions, again, please send them to info@missionmobility.com or call us at 888-478-4240. Thank you.